Let me ask you a question. Tell me one thing which is common, from wiring in our homes to the plumbing in our building, from electronics in our devices to coins in your pocket. Tell me which is common in all these things. Copper. Copper is used in almost every human activity. That's the reason why copper is referred to man's eternal metal. India's historical relationship with copper has undergone profound transformation from being a net exporter to a net importer today. But what led to this situation? In this video, we'll analyze everything. We'll start with the geography, where the copper belts are there in India and who owns them. Major copper ores are found mostly in the states of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Jharkhand and Karnataka. The copper metal production primarily happens in Gujarat and Tamil Nadu. The ore which is available in India is just 4%, but the remaining 96% of the ore is being imported from other countries. India imports ore from the other countries and then smelt it to obtain refined copper. By the way, what is smelting? Wait, I'll explain. Smelting is the process of separating copper from copper concentrates through multiple sulfide oxidizing stages. If it is clear, let's get into the actual story. Till 1997, the only producer of primary refined copper was HCL. HCL stands for Hindustan Copper Limited. After economic liberalization, Sterlite Industries and Birla Copper also started producing refined copper from imported and indigenous concentrates. Hindustan Copper Limited, which is a public sector undertaking, is the only integrated company in the country that is involved in mining and also smelting, refining and casting of refined copper. Hindalco Industries and Vedanta Limited are the major copper producers in the private sector, but they heavily depend on imported copper concentrates. These companies own copper mines in other countries. Between 1997 to 2018, India was a net exporter, but after 2018, it has become net importer. The actual reason for this is the story of Sterlite Copper case. Sterlite Copper is a subsidiary of Sterlite Industries, which is owned by Vedanta Limited. It is known for its India's largest smelter plant from 1997 to 2018. This facility encompasses not only smelter plant but also phosphoric acid plant and sulfuric acid plant, and also it provides employment for nearly 1500 individuals. Once upon a time, Sterlite Copper has a global presence, but it faced tough journey because of the controversies and it led to the closure in 2018. The plant encountered extreme opposition from the local residents, primarily due to concerns regarding environmental pollution and its consequential impact on public health. Let me explain you the story in more detail. The origin of this case traced back to 1994 when Sterlite Copper was founded in Tamil Nadu, having obtained a no objection certificate. Despite local opposition due to environmental and health worries stemming from its location in a residential area, construction of the smelting plant commenced in 1995. By 1997, despite protests, the government granted Sterlite Copper the necessary license to proceed with operations. Subsequently, villagers started experiencing illness because of pollutants emitted by the plant. Reports from the National Environmental Engineering Research Institute highlighted violations of government regulations regarding ecologically sensitive areas. In 1999, a gas leak led to hospitalization and complaints about toxic water waste. Despite a 2010 Madras High Court order to shut down the plant due to legal violations, the Supreme Court involved to allow its continued operation. In 2013, another leak prompted the Tamil Nadu government to order its closure. The Supreme Court fined the plant up to 100 crores for environmental violations but allowed it to resume operations after a 3-month shutdown. Though there were several agitations and protests around the plant, the company has planned to open its second plant in order to increase its capacity to 8 lakh tons. The plan faced extreme opposition from the Kumareddypalayam and Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board. They refused to renew the consent to operate due to legal violations. On May 22, 2018, Thoothukudi district witnessed massive protests with over 2 lakh demonstrators concluding 100 days of agitation against the plant's heavy pollution levels and its proposed expansion. After several protests, the Tamil Nadu government has halted the electricity and water supply to the plant. Chief Minister Palaniswamy ordered its permanent closure on May 28 of 2018, but the Sterlite plant appealed to the National Green Tribunal, which permitted its reopening. On August 18, the Madras High Court dismissed the Vedanta's plea, and that led to the permanent closure of the plant on that day. In 2017 to 18, the Sterlite Copper contributed 40% of the India's copper production, while Hindalco contributed 38% and Hindustan Copper contributed 10%. As the Sterlite plant got closed, the production gap started because it has contributed 40%. So India started depending on the imports in order to meet its production needs. India became net importer for the first time in 2018 to 19 and it nearly imported 14,000 crores of copper in that particular year. You will be shocked to know that The share of India in global copper production was just 24.77 thousand million tons, that is 0.11% during April 2022 to March 2023. Before we talk about the challenges that India will face if there is no domestic production of copper in India, let's understand how important copper is and why do we need copper. The ability to conduct electricity and heat are the two major characteristics of the copper. In electrical industry, the copper is used in electrical circuits, wirings and cables, and is the dominant consumer, accounting for about 35 to 40% of copper consumption. And there are a lot of use cases for the copper as well. We'll now discuss the copper and its uses. First, let's start with the electric vehicles. Irrespective of the manufacturer and the battery technology used, there is need of copper. Copper is useful because they are invariably driven by electric motors. It is used in batteries, windings, and copper rotors used in electric motors, wiring, and charging infrastructure. According to the report by ID TechX, electric vehicles use more copper than traditional vehicles with internal combustion engines. Electric vehicles uses 400% more copper than a fossil fuel run vehicle. Here is the data presented on how much copper is needed for each component in the vehicle. According to a study report, by 2027, an estimated 27 million electric vehicles will be on the road, which was just 3 million in 2017. Building and construction. The significant amount of copper is used in construction of tubings, taps, walls, tanks, and fitting for building constructions. These materials are used for their durability and corrosion resistance. And the other use case of copper is transport. Copper is used in cooling fans and water tubes used in producing radiators and heaters in automobiles. According to the market survey reports, the consumption of copper is classified into these categories. Electric industry consumes 35%, transport industry consumes 11%, building 8%, consumer durables 8%, and other sectors as shown in the picture. India spent 27,131 crore on copper imports in 2022 to 2023, which is up from 21,985 crore a year earlier. If India is unable to produce its copper need, there will be a lot of negative impacts on the country, and that starts with the import dependence. India is already depending on the other countries for importing copper in order to meet its requirement. If this continues to happen in the future, it will strain the foreign exchange reserves and also create trade deficit. Next, increased prices. If the manufacturing countries like AC manufacturers or other manufacturing companies import the copper from the other countries, it will increase their raw material prices, which in turn increase the prices of the products. One of the major negative impact will be supply chain disruptions. Industries that rely on copper, including electrical, electronics, and automotive sectors, may face supply chain disruptions due to dependence on imported copper. This could lead to delays in production, affecting economic productivity and growth. One of the major important point is impact on GDP. If a country is depending on the imports, it will create the trade deficit, as we mentioned in the first point, which will impact the GDP. As copper is a significant contributor to GDP through its various applications across industries, the decline in domestic production would negatively impact GDP growth. Not just these 4 points, it will also impact the infrastructure development. Copper is essential for infrastructure development, including power generation, transmission, and telecommunications. Without domestic production, there would be constraints on infrastructure expansion and modernization efforts, hindering economic growth and development. If copper is that crucial for the country, what is Indian government and Indian companies doing to tackle this issue? The Ministry of Mines has proposed sending an Indian industry delegation to copper-rich Zambia in order to discuss and explore the copper projects and mining in the Zambia. But why did they send only to Zambia? With approximately 6% of world's copper reserves within its borders, Zambia was the 8th largest copper producer as of 2022. The Ministry of Mines is heading an initiative to foster closer collaboration between India and Zambia through a joint business delegation comprising representatives from both private and public sectors. Among the eager participants to explore the mining opportunities in Zambia, the major participant is Hindustan Zinc. Interestingly, Indian government holds 35% stake in Hindustan Zinc. Even Vedanta Group and Ola Electric has also shown interest in this participation. Now comes the actual story, and that might be a solution for the current problem which India is facing. The private player Adani is entering into the copper industry. Adani is building the world's largest single-location copper manufacturing plant at Mundra in Gujarat. Kutch Copper, which is a subsidiary of Adani Enterprises, will set up a copper refinery plant with a production capacity of 1 million tons to produce refined copper in 2 phases. The $1.2 billion facility, which will start operations of the first phase by March end, which is aiming to produce 0.5 million tons of copper in the first phase. Adani entering this industry will be a big boost for the Indian economy. Copper demand in India has surged by 16% to 15.22 lakh tons in 2023 from 13.11 lakh tons in 2022. If Adani starts producing 1 million tons of copper every year, it will contribute to the 66% 6% of the Indian needs of copper. If this happens, there is no need to depend on the other countries for importing copper, and the remaining copper will be contributed by the Hindalco and Hindustan Copper Limited. If the things happen in the way they are planned, India will soon become the net exporter again. The industrial growth will enhance the employment and also create a lot of benefits to the economy, but the problem will grow with the time. If Adani Copper doesn't follow the rules and violates the environment, it will face the same situation as the Sterlite Copper has faced. And if that happens, India will face the same situation which we are facing right now. Only time will tell how the copper industry will pan out in the future. If you like the video, please subscribe to our channel and share this video to your friends and family. And also please check out our A to Z stock analysis. Thank you for watching the video. See you soon. Bye.